Hi, and welcome to episode 43. We're almost 60 days out from our Virgin Voyages, so today we're going to talk about all the dining available on the Brilliant Lady. Here we go. Hi, and welcome to the adventures of Two Gray Mice. I'm Meg.
And I'm Rob.
And we are Two Gray Mice. Hi, at this point, normally I would be greeting Rob and he would be greeting me back, but we had lots of audio problems, and the first 7 minutes or so of the podcast, you're basically going to just hear me. Rob's microphone wasn't working, and I only picked up what you could hear from my microphone, which I tried to amplify so you could enjoy it. And also, unfortunately, I was losing my voice. It's a great episode, just our audio quality may not be what we're used to. Sorry, folks. I hope you enjoy it. Here we go. We're having a little mini heat wave here in the Hudson Valley. It was almost 100 degrees today. It's May. That's too hot. Too hot for me. So what we're going to talk about today is the dining available on the Brilliant Lady. Unlike most cruise ships, Virgin Voyages does not have a main dining room that you're scheduled for your meals at, and it does not have a buffet that you can go get breakfast, lunch, and dinner at. It has 5 or 6 very nice sit-down restaurants that you make reservations to, and then it has the Galley upstairs, which looks like a food court, but it's nicer than a food court.
Yeah, it's not a food.
It's not like, I don't know how to describe it though.
Can't really say it's an open air market eatery because it's all closed.
Right.
That's kind of the vibe that I get. You do have individual carts. You have like the pizza place.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's much like you would see in a food court. There's lots of common seating everywhere. But we were very pleasantly surprised when we were on the show. I thought it was
the food was very good.
Excellent.
Besides the one morning that we did room service to the room, we ate breakfast there every day. Sometimes got lunch, got snacks. And what's nice about it is so it has different eateries. You walk up to them, you can order, but you can just sit at a table, put a flag up, and you get table service. And you can order from there. So it's not like a buffet or anything else. It's like this hybrid.
You don't really have waiters and waitresses per se, but all of our stuff was taken care of.
Yes.
Done with our meal. Some cable. You cleared it.
Right.
I found it.
So just a quick refresher, if you haven't listened to us before and this is your first episode, we will be traveling on the Brilliant Lady in July, from July 23rd through the 30th in their inaugural Alaska season, stopping in Sitka, Ketchikan, Prince Rupert, I don't know why. I always want to call it Prince Albert, but I just do. Just do. And I think we're at the Dawes Glacier now because they had to change glaciers because the one that we were going to go to is slowly collapsing into the sea. It's, of course, going to be a completely different experience from what so many people do with Caribbean cruising. It's not, you're going to be wanting to spend your time outside, but yet it's going to be chilly. Average temperatures are going to be between 50 and 70. It is a rainforest. So we're going to probably spend a little more time indoors. And I was thinking we'd probably spend more time indoors at night, but then me and Kate were just talking about when sunset's going to be, which is going to be 10 p.m. So how much night are we going to have? Yeah, so at that time of the year, you get about 17 hours of sun.
I still have not secured a new IMAX for trips.
Oh, I have too. Yeah, because the sun rises at 4 a.m., a little early for getting up. So as I said, there's no giant dining room, no buffet stations. There's going to be individual little tiny restaurants that, depending on what fare you take when you book your cruise, depends on when you can book your dining.
The big reason I think we decided to go with Virgin, and this being the inaugural season sometimes.
Like we were unsure.
But we had a fantastic time. when we went out on the Scarlet Lane. We were especially appreciative of the service that we received and the food. It was fantastic. I hear people all the time come back from cruises, and the one negative that they talk about sometimes is the food, or how the food is presented, or how the food is served. And we never had any of those issues. I'm sure people go on Virgin cruises and do not have a local time. That was not our experience. And it certainly our positive take from the Scarlet. So yeah, saying this is something.
Yeah, and I know recently Virgin's had a couple lumps and bumps that have actually been in the news. But at the same time, everybody I've spoken to that was involved in any of those cruises were impressed by how they were made whole. So one of the cruises just recently, because of a storm, could not go to the Caribbean out of New York. It's in New York. You really can't, it's not like you're leaving from Florida and you can go around a storm to a different Caribbean island. You can't. So, they ended up giving everybody a free cruise. It made everybody whole. Anyway.
So I was saying some of the positives. There's no giant main dining room. You have no assigned dining times. You come and go as you please. There's no gigantic buffet station. And the restaurants each have their own theme. They each have their own distinct menu. And you really feel like you're having a proper soup.
Right. Like you've gone out on a date night for dinner.
In a lot of these restaurants, the food actually becomes part of the nightly entertainment.
Oh, yeah, totally. And, even when I was on the Disney cruise, which had very good food, sometimes you do kind of feel like it's, wedding, dinner, prime rib, chicken night. And we never felt that way. So starting 60 days out, it's either 60, 45, or 30, depending on how you booked your cruise. You can, at midnight, start booking your dining. You can book one dining experience per evening. And depending on the length of your cruise, you can either do every restaurant once or twice. For us, I just want to do them once because Virgin releases a whole bunch more reservations the day you leave. They don't take everything pre. You don't have to panic about not getting the reservations you want. This is not Disney. There was no panicking about dining at all. Panicking doesn't get you anywhere anyway. First of all, what restaurants are we dealing with? And then looking at which ones we think may not have the times we want or what days we want to actually go there. So the first restaurant that we're going to talk about is the Wake. It is their steakhouse seafood vibe. It is literally at the aft of the ship, hence the name Wake. It is gorgeous restaurant and just big, huge windows at the back of the restaurant that you literally just watching the ship pull away kind of thing.
Layout's identical to the layout at the start of the day. I would say
it's close.
Very impressed. But every picture were gorgeous. When you walked in,
well, it's like a grand entrance. Yeah, that you walked in. Yeah,
everything was. All the tables were done up just so. I didn't find it overly noisy.
No. Lots of. I can't remember if it had carpet or not, but it definitely had enough soft fabrics and we were pretty central. So yeah, make noise. Yeah, so I think so too. But it was but even human noise and sometimes restaurants get very loud just with being a full restaurant because it's gonna be a full restaurant. We had great food. Of course, it was a steakhouse, so I got lamb and Rob got fish. But it was delicious. Extra Virgin is their Italian restaurant. A little more intimate. The Wave looks a little more up class, brighter, more open. Extra Virgin was a little quieter of a restaurant, a little darker place, little feel, but good Italian food. The Pink Agave, that was, I think, our favorite, wasn't it? Yeah. Elevated, true Mexican food. They have some American Mexican food on it, but true Mexican food. Your dessert was to die for. You're not a dessert person.
Sure. This particular dessert?
Yeah.
Easily ordered another one, which you're open to do if you wish.
Yes, because you could have two entrees just have appetizers, all the food's included. There are some special things you can order in each restaurant, but
I love the way the restaurant was laid out.
oh yeah,
Punched open area. And I never felt like we had to yell at each other while we were sitting there trying to have a conversation. And there was another couple that was maybe 4 feet away from us, 3 feet away from us.
yeah, the tables were pretty close, and it never really felt crowded.
It never. Really looking forward to going.
Right, and Pink Agave is one of those places that also turns into an entertainment venue when dinner service is over. They usually have Mexican music playing and little dancing and salsa lessons there.
And all the mezcal cocktails.
They were very good.
Oh my Lord.
I'm a mezcal tequila girl.
Yeah.
Gunbae. And right? Am I saying that correct?
Gunbae.
Gunbae. Korean barbecue.
That was, I think, the most fun meal
completely.
we had.
Completely. Now, they are group tables.
They're tables of 8. They
6 or 8.
Yeah, they usually do 6 people at a table. You are seated with total strangers unless you
are a party of 6 or
a party of 6 or 7 or 8. Yep. And the 2 couples that we were seated with were a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And what we joked about afterwards is like, I won't say I have the broadest of palates. I know what I like. And
my palate's worse than yours.
And that's, I don't consider myself a finicky eater.
I consider myself finicky eater, and those 2 women were finickier than me.
Yeah, they were more, yeah. And, I like to get a little adventurous from time to time, except with the super hot spice.
Right. But it's a Korean barbecue. They cook the food right in front of you. So it's like Korean barbecue in a Japanese steakhouse kind of way. But it's a little tiny thing that they're cooking on. It's not huge. And she interacts with you, and they play games with you, and it's kind of forced social interaction.
Right. So the chef is actually your host.
Yes.
In a lot of ways. Like I said, it was the most fun.
Oh yeah.
It was the most fun.
Fun. Totally. Yeah. Yeah. Completely. And it was good. It was good food.
It was very, very good food. And so I have a shellfish allergy. I can't have any shellfish whatsoever. That wasn't a problem because everybody else was having shellfish, and the way everything was prepared in front of me, my stuff was prepared off to one side, so I didn't have to worry about any.
Right. She waited until the end to do the shrimp.
Right.
For the rest of us.
Yeah.
Until Roberts was up, done, and off the grill.
And just very. And that's another thing, so we say it. One of the things that most impressed me about Virgin was when we checked in, the check-in process was about 10 minutes in length. They give you a rather lengthy packet that you have to fill out beforehand, but the check-in process there was pretty quick. But once you check in, they take all of your information and they upload it to the mainframe computer. That depending upon where you are in the ship and what you're doing, if you have, say, a shellfish allergy, that's always going to pop up on the hostess's station
and the waiter
station when they go to seat you. I found that to be pleasant. Again, it took a little worry out of the whole thing and allowed me to concentrate on enjoying myself and having a good time.
Yeah,
I felt looked after.
Yeah, and the first thing the waiter would do or waitress would do would go, Robert and Margaret, and we would say yes, and they would greet us. And then they would ask Rob, shellfish allergy? That's how we knew that they knew. Because, they just double checked every time. And so it was interesting. It was fun. Test kitchen.
Which we did not do last time.
Test kitchen is an experimental tasting menu. They're really, I guess, there's menus online, but they're not very detailed. And, it's like 5 or 6 courses, little plates, smoke and domes and all that fun stuff. And the test kitchen, even though everybody's eating the same food, if like our daughter goes and she's vegetarian, they will have a different meal for her. If there is a shellfish course, they will have something different for Rob.
And we were talking a little earlier off mic. I don't remember why we didn't do it when we did the Caribbean cruise. It might have been because it was, only 3 days.
Right. We get 4 nights.
We'll have a little more time this go around, so we may give it a whirl. But
I know my sister wants to do it.
Yeah, the point that you made about kind of being weird having dinner during a TED Talk.
Right, because you're at once again, the chef or the sous chefs are your hosts, and they're explaining. You've seen it, like Test Kitchen. I think there used to be a TV show called that too. Today you're going to be a salmon, sautéed lightly in butter with, blah 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 on the side, and they're going to explain the whole process to you. Just give me the food. Dude.
But I'm sure they're going to take the same sort of twist that they take with all of their entertainment.
Oh yeah, it's going to be different.
Yeah.
It's not going to be what I probably think it is, but
And
we'll
so
see.
this is like it's a weird trip for me because I'm really going for the scenery, but I really kind of like the food, and then there's all that entertainment on the ship.
Right. And like
Yeah.
it's gonna be interesting on trying to figure out what we want to do entertainment ship wise versus hanging out on the balcony or upstairs by the binoculars to see everything. So the last one, when we went on the Scarlet Lady, there is a restaurant called Razzle Dazzle. And they have rethemed it for 2 of the 5 ships. 4 ships? Anyway, the Brilliant Lady and Valiant Lady both now have different aspects of it. Valiant is actually Asian. And on the Brilliant Lady, it's a Rojo by Razzle Dazzle, which is a Spanish tapas restaurant. It's going to be interesting. Razzle Dazzle is their most laid back restaurant, I'd say. It's very, well, this one I think is actually black and white.
Right. So we had
certainly
ours was
bright
like
red
a
and
colorful,
silver and very colorful. People found it almost
50s
loud.
kind of.
Yeah.
I didn't find it loud at all.
No.
I was just like, I was soaking it all in. I thought it was great. Best breakfast we had while we were on the ship.
Oh yeah, the bacon, the candied bacon.
The best breakfast we had. Again, the hosts and the waiters were fantastic, and I thought it was a really interesting mix of foods. So I'm very, very interested in diving deeper into what
this is going to be.
The Rojo slant is.
Right. Because it's like looking at the menu, they have lots of small plates and then they have only 2 or 3 larger plates. They have oxtail, they have octopus. Not sure I can do that. They have a great potato dish that's supposed to be very good. So a ribeye, which is more of the larger plates. It's going to be interesting in what we, decide to pick. So, and looking at the cruise, we've got shore days, we've got glacier days, we've got just hanging out on the ocean days.
Yeah, there's two days where we're doing nothing but
hanging out on the ocean.
Ice,
Yeah. Well, it'll be green rolling hills and rain, I think, but something like that. But our first night on, what we found out last time is I made our dining reservation right smack in the middle of the set sail party.
Yeah,
because I didn't know better.
Don't do that.
Right. So it's between 4:30 and 6:30 for this one. Look at your app before you make your dining reservations.
I don't understand. We had no problems whatsoever getting this time. Yeah, that's because everybody's on the deck waving bye-bye to everybody else. But so, I'm looking forward to this trip.
Yeah. So what restaurant do you want to start with?
All of them.
All of them.
I don't have a first, second, third.
Really?
I truly do not have a first, second, third.
It is going to make making reservations very difficult. We'll just need a dartboard. No, the spinny boards. What is that? That's what we need.
The carnival wheel.
Yeah, carnival wheel.
No, we're not going to do it that way either.
Yeah, because with my luck, I'll get the same restaurant every night. So also with these restaurants, 2 of them have amazing brunches. Razzle Dazzle has a brunch that you can do and you don't need to make reservations for, and you can go there every day or make reservations for every day. They don't care. And the Wake, where I had that amazing French toast.
Yep, that was a good breakfast.
That was a good breakfast too. So if you don't want to eat in the galley or have room service, the room service is very nice.
That was kind of fun.
Yeah, and it's not just a continental breakfast. You can get a real breakfast delivered to you. The food is included. There is a handling charge for actually delivering it to your room, but it's $10. Not bad.
Nope.
So okay, so I guess I'll just kind of try to figure it out as we go. With excursions or not excursions. I mean, excursions, I'm thinking we're going to end up eating late every night or later.
Yeah, we did have some conversation about this. And so most of the excursions that we're looking at are high energy. So we're going to be pretty beat by the time we get back. And yes, I do think that a lot of our reservations are going to be on the later side.
Right. I mean, when we're just at sea, I don't think it's going to be that much of a deal, but we're going to want to be, either done by dinner by 8:30 so we can see a show that night, or we're going to see the earlier show and have a later dinner.
I'm almost thinking that, our sea nights are going to be the show nights.
Yeah. Well, they also have what they didn't have last time. They have a dinner show this time.
Yeah.
It does cost extra. It's called Up with the Twist. which I believe is a dinner show. I think it's a murder mystery, which it's Virgin's shows are unique and fun. And, from two theater bums, we thoroughly enjoy them.
Well, I did remark when we talked about our Scarlet Lady adventure, the second show that we saw had an awful lot of projections, but projections on moving screens. And I know how that technology works. I know how it's done. And I was so blown away by how precise everything on that show was. I thought they did a fantastic job on a moving ship.
Yeah. And, on the shore excursion days, I think we are going to be tired. And for the most part, we pull out between 5 and 6, either 5 or 6. So aim for 7 o'clock dinners. I'm guessing time to freshen up a little bit, maybe shower, have a cocktail, and then get dinner.
Get on soggy,
because it is a rainforest. Though we are in the dry season.
Yes, but
which means it's only dry.
We know how that works.
It only rains in the morning.
It's only going to rain for that 1 day period where we're actually ashore.
Yep. So we'll let you know what we end up picking. But I mean, it looks like I'm just going to kind of go for times and whatever restaurant's available at that time that night is what I'll pick.
I really think with this trip that might be the way to go.
Yeah, just go for what times work the best. Just go for after, first night, sail away, party ends at 6:30, go for the 7 o'clock. Do that.
I think we have at least one shore excursion that's over really early.
Yes.
And
but then we're going to want to walk through these towns and explore these towns and, hit the pub, find some good crab to eat, not allergic to it.
You can find some good crab to eat.
So it's also fun that they just dropped, and their first Alaskan cruise is currently sailing. Yeah. But they just dropped some things that they added to the cruises for Alaska because Alaska is unique in itself.
And this we're really interested in and getting excited about because it seems that the entire ship, the programming, decorations, theming, menus are all going to have some sort of nod to Alaska and the Alaskan culture.
Yeah.
That sounds really, really cool. So it seems like it's going to be an immersive kind of affair.
And I was kind of nervous at first because it's an all-girl time, but most of the other cruise lines have a naturalist on board that will do speech talks and tell you what you're looking at and how the glaciers came to be and all that fun stuff. And I was hoping that Virgin would do that, and they are.
Yeah, and I'm interested in seeing how it works.
Right.
How they pull it off.
They've added people to their happenings crew, the naturalist for that reason, the lumberjack.
Yeah.
Which is he's going to be the person who actually is talking to you more about the Alaskan culture and the fact that, it was originally, the lumberjacks and the oil men and how it blended with, the Native Americans that are up there, things like that. So it's going to be interesting. But they also added to each restaurant a specific menu item that's very Alaskan: salmon, crab, or a different way of doing something like that. They're going to have binoculars for us to use, and then we can put headphones on and listen to what we're looking at without.
I saw that, but I think I think we're going to have to reserve that well in advance.
Yeah.
I think there's an upcharge with that too.
Well, we'll find out. That's going to be something that, like when we first get on board, we're going to either book it or not book it. But what I also find interesting is at night they're going to have like quiet time on one of the decks to look up at the sky and what's happening around us. Those ships are really bright.
Yes.
So how many stars am I going to see? Or are they going to turn the ship off? That's what I'm like. I want it. Like, are they turning the whole?
That'd be kind of cool.
It would be very cool. They just put the running lights on so we don't run into any other ships, obviously. But
well, I'm not a big cruise guy.
No,
by any stretch of the imagination. Scarlet Lady was my first cruise in, what did we figure? 3 decades?
Yes.
Yeah.
Almost, not quite. She was 2. And she was 28 when we went on board. So,
bumping.
It was close to 30 years.
It was bumping. 25 years. Solid quarter century since I'd been on a cruise ship.
Yeah.
Our final night out at sea, when we were heading back to Miami, I guess we were making excellent time. And the ships, I think, have docking times.
Yeah. Oh, Miami Port? Oh, yeah.
So what I thought was really, really interesting is, and I think we went to bed on the late side that night, but there were at least 8 ships around us, but they're so far away
But you can definitely make out all the lights, and you know that's a ship.
Yeah. Yeah. It was very cool.
I thought that was very, very cool.
And I just took the Disney cruise, and we had the one night where they had the fireworks. Yeah. All those other ships are really close because they all kind of come in going, oh, they're going to set the fireworks off. We'll just watch.
Fireworks.
They're going to have, they always have a pub crawl. They're going to have a Hoppy Trails, which is all going to be Alaskan brew pub and small batch beers for us to taste, which I think Robert's going to sign up for in 2.5 seconds when we get on the boat.
I may even sign up for it twice. The one thing that I did notice that I wanted to go back and take a closer look at.
Yeah.
So when I was on the Scarlet Lady, you encouraged me to do that Scotch tasting, and I did.
Yep.
And it was an exceptionally enjoyable time. The gentleman who was taking us through, I believe we sampled 9 or 10 different scotches.
Just like 4 of you. He was having way too much fun with you guys.
Oh, way too much fun.
It was like twice as long as it was supposed to be.
Yep.
I'm like, what are they doing in there?
Yep.
We were like drinking scotch.
And having a good time. Super, super knowledgeable. But they have something similar this time around, but it's with hot beverages.
Oh, yeah. Where was that? Yep.
It sounded really, really interesting.
Yeah, it's like, the hot toddy of life.
But I know like they have trivia pretty much every night.
Every day, someplace.
Yeah,
someplace
trivia is going on. That's going to have an Alaskan slant too.
Bear with it.
Yep. So
you can learn how to make baked Alaskas. Hands-on cocktail class focused on Alaskan-inspired hot cocktails and spiked hot chocolate, including drinks as the glacial toddies and cedar smoked old fashions. That's what you're talking about.
That's the one that I saw.
Northern Nightcaps.
That I will be signing up for.
Yep.
That just looked really interesting.
It does. So Stargazers Alaskan Nights, a quieter nighttime event with stories, stargazing, ambient music, and blankets, encouraging sailors to take in Alaska after dark.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to that too, because I like chaise lounges and everything.
Mm-hmm. You'll be sleepies.
But at nighttime,
yeah,
staring up at the sky, I think that's going to be kind of cool.
They're going to have gatherings on the dock at sunset, which is the really cool bar, food area, just over the wake, actually, all the way at the end of the ship that Rob and I loved and enjoyed.
Yeah, that was that. If you were a fan of live music, that was where most of the live music was happening. And we're talking solo artists.
Yeah, not big bands, just like or couples.
But that was a lovely afternoon, and big cushy chairs, you're just hanging out, a little bit of a vibration from the motor going. Yeah, it was a lovely time.
Yep. So that's pretty much what we're looking forward to. And obviously, we'll tell you what I end up booking, but we're just going to go to everybody, all the restaurants, aim for certain times. They were all good. There was not a bad one on there. So I'm looking forward to all of it.
I think the main complication is going to be the fact that it's not just you and I going. It's other people.
Yes.
And trying to get 5 people to agree on something. As we know.
Oh, no, I'm just making the reservations.
There we have it.
It's my birthday and I'll do what I want to.
That's not how the song goes.
Oh, it's not?
No, it's not how the song goes.
Well, everybody wants to eat at all 5 places except for Tim because Tim hasn't looked into it at all. He's just going to follow.
Yeah. Who's got the mac and cheese? Come on, dude. Break out of it.
Yep.
Well, before we do our sign off, we wanted to send a special shout out to our friends Arthur and Megan. Longtime listeners.
Longtime friends.
Folks that we know from the Elmwood Playhouse in Nyack, New York.
Because we're still theater geeks.
Yep. Been going to the same community theater for over 40 years.
Well, he has.
Yeah.
I've only been going there for 30.
And that's only because you said yes.
And that's because I said yes. It's actually more than 30. It's actually... You're probably closer to 50 and I'm probably closer to 40. Yikes and away.
I never in my wildest dreams thought that I would consider myself in like the over 50 club in that sense of the word.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
I still don't consider myself in the over 60 club, 50 club. Any club. Over anything. Okay, thanks, folks. Thanks for listening to the adventures of Two Gray Mice. Please leave a rating or review wherever you listen. It can help our show be heard by more people.
You can follow us on Instagram at Two Gray Mice Podcast.
You can send any questions about anything or planning your next vacations to 2graymice@gmail.com.
Until next time, I am still Rob.
And I'm still Meg.
And together we are Two Gray Mice.
Thank you.
Oh, right. I guess I'm not supposed to read that word.
No, that's supposed to be who says it.
Ah.
It's called a script. Talk to you next week, folks.
See you later. Bye.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.